Hi everyone. I'm talking to those in the replay because no one else is here yet. I'm going to take a minute and tag everyone. I follow someone else who does videos like this, and she has staff to help her. So I always think about that when I'm sitting here doing all this while you guys are waiting for me. But it's a necessary thing. Okay. All right. Hey, Pat, you're prompt. I appreciate that. How are you doing? I was reading I don't know if I responded to all of them, but your messages about your puppy dog. I'm so sorry. I think you know I lost my big dog. It's been a couple months now, but I don't know, it was terrible. Terrible. So it's the day before Thanksgiving. I really appreciate you guys whoever comes now and whoever watches the replay, taking your time out during all the holiday stuff that goes on. And I'm just gonna get my notes here. Wait a couple minutes to see if anybody else comes. Pat, could you, I don't know how we do this, but I'm really curious. When you guys are commenting, I'll ask a question, then I'll have to wait a little while, right, to see what the response is. And I'm curious about like how long it takes from the time that you actually type what you're saying to the point of when it pops up. Like, is it right away, or is there because it feels to me like there's a lag, but it's hard on my side because I'm over here waiting. So I'm curious about that. Okay, well, I'm just going to start, and we'll see who. I don't know if this is going to be a slow day because of the holiday. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Lawton, and it's funny, I said Chris. Sometimes I say Christina, but today I say Chris. Yes, it's hard, but I'm going to watch this. It is good. This is one that will work. Not just a note. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I know you're having a hard time, but for sure, I'd like to think that these videos are, take your mind off of things and help you kind of explore yourself, which is never, ever, ever a bad investment, right? So I have this company. It's called Intuit Health Wellness and Transformational Center. And like I said yesterday, my goal is, it's funny, I do my best thinking in the shower. And today, right before this, I was thinking, about my goals and about why I'm here. And I really feel like I have a big desire to have people who are really, really invested and interested in changing their life. So I just want to put that out there. This is when you're working on your stuff, right? It's really good to define and explain, whether you're speaking to someone or whether you're writing it down or however you do your process, to be able to really explain it and define it and start the energy moving of it. So this is for me, but I'm hoping I'm inspiring you to do this practice and to just hear me, that my desire is to really attract people to this program, to this little group that we have going, that I hope becomes a good supportive family who are 100% vested in improving their life and understanding themselves. So that's my intention today. Pat, I'm on a little phone and it's trying to mess up to someone. I know. I don't know why you're having trouble. I wish I could help you. I don't know how. Just try to hang in there, I guess. Or maybe move to a different corner of the room. Okay, so my next announcement is, you probably saw the post. I put it in a couple of different places. I am offering holiday gift cards. So the gift cards are for presents, of course, for your loved ones who may just want a very interesting, original gift. It's all about self-care, so how awesome is that, right? And the things that you can choose from are a 60-minute reading, a private reading online, a 30-minute reading online, a 3-package reading, so it's 3 sessions that are $250, which is $50 off of what it would be for 3, and a 4-pack of coaching sessions, and that would be $400. So if you know someone who could benefit from this, just find the post and you can click the link for whatever you want, or just reach out to me. Okay. Good, Pat. I'm glad you can hear me. All right. I wanted to recap about last night. The homework was about dreaming, and the comments that I've seen about dreaming. One awesome job for everyone who was accountable for your homework last night. I will be doing the drawing right after this live, so I'll post that in a little bit, who won the drawing for that, for a little bit of a gift card. And I think it was Mary. That said that she had this. No, Pat, it was you. I'm sorry. It was you about the house, right? So Pat, I want to talk about people's gains. Pat wrote down that she wanted to dream about where she was going to live. And Pat, your dream was amazing. Not only did you see a house, but you got your answer about the timing, right? So that is such an amazing thing. I'm so happy for you. And anybody who did the homework and didn't dream, just keep going. It's about strengthening that muscle to be able to process and program your brain to do what you want it to do. So sometimes it doesn't happen a day or two. You might even have to do it a week in a row, but don't give up. Because, sometimes there's barriers you have to break down, especially when it's something that you're not 100% sure you're capable of. And we're going to talk about belief systems later. If you don't completely believe that you're able to do it, sometimes it's, a little difficult to work through. How do I do this? So keep going. Yeah. I know sometimes, definitely I've felt, you want the timing on your time, right? You know this is what you want, whatever it happens to be, and you want it to be right now. I feel ready right now. And one thing that I've definitely learned is, and I can feel within myself right now saying this, that this is something that I need to take my own advice. Sometimes how you get from point A to point B, like you're at point A and you think, I'm ready. I want this to happen now. But the universe, or however you want to put it, doesn't get you there right now. It may take another 6 months. Hey, Jerry, I'm glad you're here. It may take 6 months to get to point B, but what do you learn and what do you process through, and what blocks do you knock down, and all of that within the time of where you thought you were ready, and then when you actually, were in the position or received what you had the desire for. So Pat, I bet it's like that about this house situation. There's probably things that need to change or happen between now and whenever your spirit person in the dream thought would be the perfect timing for you. So, and I think I said this to someone else last night. In the guided imagery that we did, one person saw the house that she wanted. So it was like your dream, Pat, except it was in the guided imagery. So she saw the house that she wanted to live in. And then I talked about, you know, it's like you see the time travel movies and they go back in time to try to change something from happening, but actually going back in time triggered the thing to happen. So I would say to you, if you're seeing this house in your dream, write about it, think about it, imagine it, because what came first, right? Are you actually activated now in a position to change the energy and to create this situation for yourself? So it's like Abraham Hicks talks about this a lot. All of our things that we want to create and manifest, they're all like in a drawer somewhere waiting for us. So that's probably what this house situation is for you. So really, you know, think about, what did it look like? I don't know if you've done, you probably have, but if you haven't, write about it. What did it look like? What did it feel like? How did it feel? And you can start to create your dream. Maybe this is how you get there. Does that make sense? Jerry, how you doing? I think I saw, I read it a few minutes ago that you wrote your dreams down, but you didn't have one yet. And this is your first time doing this, I think. So, or not dreams maybe in general, but the workshop. So just keep at it. Don't give up. You know, like I said earlier, it's like a muscle. You just have to practice. And yeah. Like sometimes we forget that, right? We forget that we ask for something and we see it, but then you just let it go and move on to the next thing. But there's so much information and processing and inspiration from the things that you ask for and you receive. So let's see. I loved all the feedback about the guided imagery yesterday. It's a really powerful process. What I did want to say, I don't think I said it yesterday during the day, was the guided imagery about the house is something that I've used for a really long time with my clients. And the one that we did yesterday, there's two. If you want to go back, if you didn't see the nighttime one, there's another one in the nighttime one. It's pretty similar, but if you want to do it again, I'm going to have to plug my phone in. Within that idea of the whole house, if you imagine the house, excuse me, I had my phone plugged in. I don't know why. House, if you imagine the house is you. So if you imagine the bottom half representing your past, so the basement would represent your past, and then the living area is like the present. We went up to the second floor or to the comfy area, right? And then if you went on to like a balcony or roof or at the top, that would be your spiritual connection. So if you're ever wanting to do that guided imagery, this is one thing within the 12-week workshop that I'm offering that starts in January. This is one thing that we are going to work on, is creating guided imageries just for you on the fly. So you don't need someone to tell you how to do it. You know how to do it within yourself and kind of navigate to get your answers. So if you wanted to use that guided imagery that we used yesterday, you can expound upon that and look at the basement for answers about your past. It's very interesting. A lot of times I've done it with people, and sometimes the basement can be really, if you have a house with a legit basement, it can be a scary place anyways if it's like the old-timey basement. But if you consider your past is down there too, it can be a little scary. So, but it's something you can explore. Let me just, it helps me to have this going on my iPad so that I can see who's here and who's commenting. I don't want to hear myself though. Okay. All right, so what's next? Oh, and yesterday we also talked about imagination versus intuition. If you have any questions about that, if you've thought more about it and, you know, something kind of hit you and you wanted to talk about it, just go ahead and write it in the comments. I just feel imagination and intuition together can really create a really, like a recipe for expounding upon what you are able to do as far as your intuition. Okay, so today's topic is about challenging your belief system that maybe has been present since you were a child. I wrote a few questions that I want to ask you, and this is just, you know, thinking about what is your belief system around this. And it might be something you've thought about, might not have been something you've ever thought about, but I wrote it down, so I want you to think about it. Now, if you have your paper and pencil, you can write notes, and I would love it if you would write within the comments if there's anything that really hits you and you want to share. When we talk about using our intuition, many times, yay, Kayla's here. Many times we say, Spirit told me, or I got information from Spirit, or I want to listen to what Spirit has to tell me, right? Does anybody here do that? Or is that what, because it's, I think there's two layers to that. One, it's just what we do without really thinking about it. Or two, it's what we've been taught or what our belief is, right? That we're talking to Spirit. So then after that, there's a question of who's Spirit? Are you getting information from you? Or are you talking to your grandfather and his spirit, right? And this is just observations to think about. So do you say or consider you're getting your information from Spirit? And then that's a whole other conversation, like, what is that? Or where does that part of you live even? And then when you're speaking to Spirit and getting answers, where is it coming from? Now, this is part of belief systems, especially someone who's coming from a religious belief. Can't even tell you how many times I have heard, I don't want to do that because I'm afraid I'm like speaking to bad spirits, or I'll get bad information from something that isn't like high frequency. Pat says, I have done so when I know it's my higher self, but I can come from a past memory. Yeah. So there's all of that, right? And then let's switch to more of a, instead of a spiritual sense, more of a scientific sense. When we're getting information for ourselves, right? Maybe something from our body. Why does my left shoulder hurt? And you start, and we're going to talk about this later on in the week, about mapping the body. But when we're really looking energetically at our body and at our energetic anatomy, or what lives within our body, where is that information coming from? Is it coming from Spirit? Or is it coming from your body, from your cells? And I'm not here to tell you, I think this is for, you know, this is within my program, but it's a lot to go into here. But there's a lot of different categories, right? Where you get the information, is it ultimately from Spirit, or can we get information from our cells, from our muscles? I believe that every one of our cells is a whole entity within itself, and they do listen, they do speak to us, and they do react to holding trauma, and because of our old trauma that's within our cells and within our muscles, then that creates a response later on in life due to the old trauma. So it's something to entertain there's not enough time within this little bit of time to delve deep into it, but it's something that I wanted to put out there to really think about, like, where is the information coming from, and is it a good practice to differentiate what your desire is when you're asking, and then is it all coming from the same place anyways, or can we really differentiate, okay, this is coming from my cells, this is coming from my higher self? Because I tend to believe that our cells are a very high vibrational information. When we're speaking, say when I'm talking to someone who's on the other side, those of you who have done this work like I do, if you've done readings or if you've done conversation with the non-physical, you know that there are different levels that you can speak to someone. So if I'm talking to someone on the other side, I may be talking to their part that was human and lived with us, so they will have different emotions and different responses, and they may even resemble the energy of the person that was here. Or you can reach higher up, and this is like a very great place of healing relationships of the person who was left behind. You can speak to their higher self and their place of non-duplicity, so you can get very fine-tuned information that for some people is hard to accept, or some people hard to discern or understand, because it can not make sense to our human selves that have all of our conditions. Does that make sense? Pat says, Mom was a holy roller, my gifts were of the devil. Yeah. So that's I want to make sure I asked all the questions that I wanted to. I think so. Kayla, yeah, for sure. Sometimes it comes through so clear. I can see myself, but I can't see your comments. It comes through so clear. I can see and smell and feel and hear, and other times it's hard to understand. Yeah. What do you guys think about that whole concept of, reading your body versus reading, something that, where is the information coming from? And Pat, I completely, to this day, my dad is a born-again Christian, and everything I do is sending me to hell. And it's terrible, right? Like, I can't talk about my work to him. And also just to talk about the fact that as a person who should be very important to me, I mean, he is, but he's my father, right? There's a lot of triggers that are in between that information, right? Why can't that person accept me for who I am? And the religion gets in the way. So it can instill a lot of, even if you say, I don't believe this, it's a heavy burden to carry if you pick it up of someone else's belief system that's very, very close to you. So that's what I wanted to talk about next, is belief systems, how we've brought them with us into our adult lives, and how to process some of them and let them go. And sometimes we never think about, not everyone, but it's a common thing to never really think about. You might know what might, like Pat, you might know in the past what has been put upon you with the things that you can do. But what are the possibilities? If you let go of that belief system, what are the possibilities of what could happen? What can you choose to believe differently around that belief system to take on a new one? So that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so challenging beliefs that that they could be instilled in childhood since you were born, and your house that you grew up in, or it may even be later on in like a marriage, in a relationship, or if someone in your life decided to become religious and all of a sudden what you do isn't legit. My whole mom's side of the family is also, and my mom-in-law wants us saved. Yes, be saved. That's very important. I love her, but I know there's a lot more going on. Yeah. So what's the key? To be able to have your belief system solid and understand what parts may be wavered by other people, and to really come into who you are and what you want your belief systems to be. It's very empowering to be able to take on new ones and drop the old ones. Yep. It's really common, very common. All right, so I gotta read this because I wrote it and I can't discern just by glancing at it. Do you think, or have you on purpose, have you on purpose changed your belief system? So have you ever looked or realized that you had a limiting belief system and then chosen consciously to believe something else? Have you ever done that? So have you ever had a belief, a limiting belief, that you decided this does not serve me anymore, and I'm going to choose consciously to believe something different? Good on you, Jerry. It's a powerful thing, because sometimes we forget that we can change our mind, or sometimes we forget that we can let go of other people's stuff that they put on us, and it doesn't have to be ours anymore, it's theirs, which ties in with the whole empathic thing too. Okay. And then my next question is, could a limiting belief be in the way of you finding your most powerful self? So I would almost say to you, just for a minute, close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and ask yourself that question. Could a limiting belief be in the way of you finding your most powerful self? And then whatever pops up in your mind, maybe write it down, or you can put it in the comments. Okay, so the next thing, of course, is what are your limiting beliefs? So take out your pen and paper, or whatever you're writing it on or typing on, and we're looking for 3, but I would encourage you, because we're going to work with 3 of them, but I would encourage you to just start making a list. Just throw your mind window wide open and just start making a list. What are your beliefs that may be in the way? And I'll give you a couple of categories to get you started. About religion. This you may or may not believe in, so you can ignore it or make a list about it. Old programming from past lives. I've worked with a lot of people who have been killed in their past lives for what they could do, or past or linear, however our other timelines are going on. So that's one. I actually wrote, could you have died for your power in the past? Someone discouraging you around what you can do or around what you want to do. You were taught to fear it. You were told to be quiet about it or belittled, teased about it. You were told you were crazy. I had an ex-husband who literally said, I think I should commit you because you are hallucinating. And then can you think of any other categories? If anybody can think of any other categories, I would love to add it to my list for next time. Pat, yes, I bought the whole church thing, but as I grew up and saw sports and my angels said things, I started reading other. It's so frustrating. I cannot see the rest of the comment. I gotta go on my iPad. That I'm not good enough. Yeah. Oh, Pat, that's such a good one around what, like, doing this kind of work and the scarcity of money, or how many healers out there. Kayla, if you're still here, I know this is something I think we've talked about. You feel like you're not supposed to charge, or you feel like your abilities come from a higher place, so money doesn't belong there, or just plain, and this is something that I've had to struggle with, your self-worth of, like, is it really worth getting paid for, like, a real job? So Pat, that's a really, really notable thing. And I challenge you, Pat, right here, I'm challenging you, and I'd love to support you around this. You are worth it. It is a legit job. And if you're good and you foster what you do, the only thing between you and being successful is your beliefs, really. And you can tell me what you think about that. So do you guys have your list of beliefs that may be hindering you? If you want to put up a couple of them, I would love to see them. I'm just going to give you guys a minute with that. I'm going to try to see the rest of your comments, because when I have to push the button to expand the comments, it won't let me. There we go. Okay. All right, Jerry, I've had back pain most of my adult life, and I struggle with believing I can become pain-free. Kayla. I think there's gremlins in our electronics. I hope you're back. If there's anything you missed, we were just talking about belief systems and worth. What I was saying, if you didn't hear me, was Pat was mentioning, you know, our disbelief around money in doing this kind of work, and believing that we're worth it, or, you know, that we can actually charge, and also just concepts about money and the lack, you know, that belief system of there's not enough. And I mentioned your name, I think, because we may have talked about this before, about, you know, is it because it's a spiritual gift, should we charge? And I was just saying, yeah, hell yeah, because we're providing. I've kind of realized a lot lately. It was actually a dream I had. I'm going to read you this dream because, Pat, I think I might have even asked about something. I can't remember, though, why I dreamt this. But I was traveling to the beach, and there was all kinds of obstacles in the road. They weren't really hard to get around, but they were like cones that I had to drive, so I had to go a certain direction to get there. And there was a person who looked like Jerry. It looked like Angela. Angela is Jerry's daughter, but it wasn't her. But I think she represented an angel because of her name, Angela, because it was her, but it wasn't her. And my daughter was with me, and she was holding my hand and was scared. My daughter was scared, and we stopped to play. And then, so we played in my dream, which was pretty cool. And then we stopped, and I was given this scrapbook. And in the scrapbook, when I opened it up, it was all testimonials of people I had helped. So, in essence, that's a pretty easy dream to read, to decipher that I was going to the beach, which is where I am now, and there are obstacles. There's always obstacles to get where you want to go. But my work has helped people, and that's it, Pat, right? Like, if you are helping people, that helping is more important than some, like, I don't know, drink bottle that you bought from whatever store, right? And this is they charge for this, people charge for this. So if you're providing a service that helps people, then it's worth it, if that makes sense. All right, that was kind of a little side note. All right. Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys have your list of your belief systems that you'd like to change. And now we're going to do a guided imagery. Maybe one or two of you have already done this, but we're going to do it again. It's something that you can do all the time. When you decide, like, if you kind of have yourself on alert, oh, I don't think this belief suits me anymore, so I'm going to spend a minute and change it. And that's what we're going to do. So, before we do the guided imagery, I want you to spend a minute and think about these beliefs that are in your way. Choose 3. You can do the rest later. And then next to it, I want you to write, what is the new belief? So it could be something like, I was brought up that through religion, that what I did was evil, or, based on talking to something that wasn't God. But my new belief is that I have beautiful gifts that serve me and serve the people that are around me, and there's value to that, and I'm working for a higher purpose. Create a new belief system that negates the old one. So do that for the top 3. And do me a favor, when you've finished writing out your top 3, can you just push the heart button? And that will let me know that I know you're done. And Jerry, I know I read your comment about your back, and I didn't mean to. I kind of feel like I brushed over it. Thank you, Pat. For sure, I know it's hard to believe when it's something that's been with you for so long, but I have every ounce of belief that something like that it's something you can work through and get to the other side of, so you're not living with the pain. It's just to figure out what's in there, what's holding you back, and what's creating the stuff around it. Okay. So I'm just going to start. And those of you who are still writing, you can either, I would suggest come along with me, so you don't miss out on the beginning of the guided imagery if you're still writing. Yeah. Jerry, it might just be something that, something like being within this atmosphere with other people to be able to like bounce ideas off of, or, when it happens to me all the time when I'm talking to my coach or when I'm talking to a client, something will trigger a thought, or it's like a little, it's like a micro burst of opening so that you can see something a little bit different. So I think it's important, you know, to, I don't know, maybe just align yourself in different places to have opportunities to get, you know, information mirrored back to you. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's, if you're meditating about it, maybe that's a little seed of hope or an idea. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into a guided imagery about switching your beliefs. So what I want you to do is just take a deep breath, close your eyes, find your center, and try to remember to bring your breath from your belly. Start from your belly to expand your lungs. Bring in your senses, bring in the noise, bring in your sight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to envision a switchboard. So right in front of you is a switchboard with two panels where you have a bunch of things on the left plugged in, and then on the right, it can be however it looks. It could already have things there or it could be blank. But what we're going to start with is the switchboard on the left. And what I want you to do is imagine the 3 things that are on your list that you want to change the beliefs around. Just kind of remind yourself. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick the first one. Doesn't have to be the most important one, but just choose one. And then I want you to, if you want to, ask for help. It's always good to ask for help. So you can ask a loved one, you can ask anyone that you're comfortable with to call into your energy to help you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your hand on that cord, and you're going to think about, as you're going to pull it out, but first I want you to get a really good idea in your mind, what does this belief system look like? And you can ask to either hear stuff from the person who's with you, or just to get pictures in your mind, feelings, how it felt, where did this come from, what is it preventing you from doing, whatever may come up around this belief system. And it may not feel good or look pretty, but it's really good to acknowledge it, and we're not going to hold on to it, okay? Now, sometimes when I do that, when I go to grab it, there will be like things hanging off it and all kinds of stuff that's like around it. So what I want you to do is imagine pulling that belief system out. You're disengaging from this belief system, and you can ask for help to clear the energy. So it may not look like anything, and you may pull it out and it's clean, and that's fine. But if there is stuff around it, ask for help to just clear it away, because you just want to let it all go. Hi, George. So then when you're done with that, I want you to put it into your other hand, into your right hand. And now we're switching to our new belief system, so you can let go of all the other stuff. You can even kind of imagine walking over to the new panel where it's nice and shiny. And you're going to plug in, anywhere you want to, your new belief. So think about it. What is it? And don't just think like one sentence. I want you to go on and on about it in your mind. All of the things that it's going to allow to change in your life, to bring comfort in your life, to bring more power. Be very flamboyant about all the things. And then when you're ready, plug it in and feel what that feels like. And then once you're done, we're going to go do that 2 more times. So I'm going to talk you through it just so, you know, I'm going through it, but you basically know what to do, so now you can do it on your own also. So you're going to go over to the other side. Hopefully you're feeling comfortable with whomever is helping you, and you're going to hold on to that old belief. This is the second old belief. And just let all those thoughts, all those memories. And if this brings up emotion, if you cry, if you feel angry, it's okay. Just let it come up. This is why you're letting it go. Just think about it. Let the images come up, let the emotions come up, the feelings, the memories. And then when you're ready, hand all that stuff to the person who's helping you. They can just take it all away. You're all done. It's like taking the garbage out. And if there's someone here that's worried about guilt, because I just kind of felt a hit of that, it's all good. This is your belief system, no one else, so it doesn't affect anyone else right now, just you, okay? All right, and then you're gonna let that go, and you're gonna move over to the right side, and I want you to plug in your new belief. Really think about it. What does this new belief around whatever you're establishing, what does it mean? What does it feel like? What does it give you? What are the possibilities? And then when you're all ready, we're going to go over and do the third one. So go over to the letting go side, and let's just repeat. Think about what you want to let go. Hold on to that cord. Visualize all the things that have to do with it. All the things you want to let go of, all the things you never want to feel again. And then when you're ready, you can let it go with your person's help. Let them just put it in a wheelbarrow and drive it away. Don't be afraid of what you feel. And then go over to the other side, and we're going to plug in our new belief system. So think of all the good things, all the new beliefs around it, all the things you desire and want, and the possibilities and how it would feel. And just plug it right in. And then when you're ready, you can take a deep breath. Make sure you're in your body. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. And then you can open your eyes, and you can make any notes, any memories of things that happened. Feel free to put it in the comments. I would love to hear how your experience was. And if either one of you, I wouldn't mind trying this. I don't know if either one of you are up to this, but if you had a experience that you would like to share, we can try having you come up on the camera to talk about it. Pat says, wow, I felt that. Last one was the not good enough to charge it, let go. I plugged in. My gifts are from source and I have the right to be paid. Awesome. Awesome, Pat. How did it feel when you were, when you did that? Could you feel, sometimes you can feel like a literal shift in your energy or your mood, or you feel free. Okay, so I'm going to keep felt great management. Yes. Yay. I'm proud. That's awesome. Jerry, how was that for you? Pat, I'm glad this is a heart lifter for you. All right. So while I'm waiting for anybody else who's gonna say anything, I'm gonna just kind of wrap up. Yes, it is. It's and you know, maybe this also has a connection to your whole house that you dreamt about. You know what I mean? It's all probably tied together. Jerry, it is a good exercise, but I was trying to see what my blockage is, but couldn't identify it. So do you mean, I want to understand what you mean by blockage, Jerry. Do you mean like when you're unplugging the old belief? Or do you mean understanding what you want your new belief to be? If that makes sense. Oh, we got you back. I'm sorry, I'm a step ahead or behind one or the other. All right, I see. So yeah, that's probably all tied together between your back pain and your belief systems, right? Is that what you're thinking, that something within to figure out what is causing the back pain? Yeah. How did you do with, did you find that there was a belief that was associated with the back pain? So while I'm waiting for you to answer, I was going to say this exercise, okay, all right. Well, you know, it's a process, right? It's just a process. But I would still keep working with like your old beliefs and your new beliefs, and then sometimes when we focus really hard, right, you're saying that's the frustration. When we focus really, really hard on something, sometimes it's hard to get past it. Sometimes if you focus on something different, even something like to the side of it, then our answers come. Because we have to be really careful, like if this is something you've been working with for a really long time, we have to be careful that we're not coming from a place of lack. Meaning around your back, you are coming from a place of lack and frustration because you can't get your answer. You don't know why it's there. You don't feel better. So it's got you in this place of, I can't figure it out. And when you sit in that place, energetically, you can't figure it out, if that makes sense. So you have to kind of shift into a place where it's not so important. or into a place of neutral. And there's a whole thing, I don't know if we've talked about, I was thinking about incorporating it into this, and maybe I'll even do it tonight, around the alchemy of using I hope statements to transform a situation. So as far as like the secret type things or manifesting what we want, you hear people say, feel it, believe it, imagine it's all fixed. But in your situation, because I've had this type of situation, it's there. And even no matter how much you imagine it, it's hard to imagine it not being there because it's part of you, right? And this works with with money issues. It's hard to, if I, using myself as an example, if I was to imagine that someone was going to, or somehow I was going to make $1 million in the next 7 days, it's probably not going to happen because it's never happened before. I don't have like a feeling within myself to believe that. So it's like that muscle memory thing. It's that knowing or experiencing it enough to believe it. So using I hope statements, the alchemy of I hope isn't I believe this will happen, but it's softer. If you can feel that, like saying I hope versus a definite thing, it's softer and it softens the energy around it. And you can hope, right? You can hope. I hope that my back will feel better tomorrow. Like if maybe incorporate that into your prayers. I hope it will feel better, and stop trying to figure it out. Or just say it once. I want to understand why this is going on, and I want to understand why. What do I have to do to fix it? And then each day you can say, I hope I feel better. I hope I have the knowledge, and kind of relax the energy around it. Because if the energy is kind of frustration or from a place of this isn't happening, if we're just strictly talking physics, it's probably not going to happen very easily if you're in a place of believing it's not happening. Does that make sense? Okay, so this whole belief, and here we are talking about beliefs, right? Like maybe that's just a belief right there. Unplug the belief that your frustration, all of that, and just plug it into, I know what's going on and I'm going to, understand what I need to fix it, and just leave it at that. So you want to, switch your belief maybe around that, instead of trying to figure it out. And of course, this is a really good thing to incorporate into some of your practice, whether it's, on a weekly basis or even every 6 months. Just evaluate, what are some beliefs that I can let go of? It doesn't have to be around using your gifts or finding your gifts. It could be anything. It could be about anything. It's a really good practice to use. Okay, I'm going to kind of close up with a couple of things, but while I'm doing that, if you guys have any questions, anything you want to say, anything you want to bring up, go ahead and do that, and that will give you time while I'm kind of chatting up the end of this. I wanted to talk about, I'm going to talk about like one thing that I have incorporated into the 12-week program. And one of those things is energy mapping. So just to talk about how cool it is, energy mapping for me, and this works for me, so this is what I also teach, is to be able to bring the human body up, whether it's your body or someone else's, in front of you as if it's a 3-dimensional graph. So within this class, that's one thing that I teach, is how to envision that. And then within that 3-dimensional graph, you can figure out, like Jerry, like your back, you can figure out what's going on, where is the injury or the pain. It's a really cool practice to understand what emotions are there, if it looks like inflammation, if there's actually, sometimes when I see it, it'll be maybe something dark or a different color that represents, like maybe it represents anger or guilt or something like that. And then also within that energy mapping, as you travel around the body, you can also get intuition hits about what's going on, and you'll hear things. So, and that's incorporating your imagination, because you can pull you imagining a body in front of you, and then your intuition of reading the energy within that imagined body. So each day I'm going to talk about what's within this 12-week program, because I am just so excited about sharing it with whoever is interested in joining me. Okay, and in regards to that, if you're interested in the program, within the feed, there's a lot of information about it. It's as an event. So if you look in the events, it's just a button up at the top. It'll tell you a lot of information about the program. And if you're interested, just reach out to me, and I'd love to do a little short meeting with you, and I can share all the information, how it goes, and then you can, decide whether you want to join me or not. So, okay. I don't see that you guys, there's no more comments for me, because I don't want to ignore anything. So I am going to put up a post to see if anybody's going to be around tonight. If people are around, and if you're listening to this replay, if you would like me to come on to do a repeat of tonight around 8 o'clock, I will. I'm just going to kind of leave it up to the votes, because, it's the night before Thanksgiving. So I guess that's it. Thank you guys for being here and sharing all your wisdom and thoughts and feelings with me. I'm just loving this. And right after this, I'm going to post who won the homework raffle for today. All right, guys, have a really good day. If you have anything you want to talk about, please reach out. And happy Thanksgiving. If I don't see you, the next one, if I don't come on tonight, the next one will be Friday at 1 o'clock. All right, bye.